If I recall correctly, it's something like the second best exercise in Doug's book for the glutes, so it's really a good exercise. Sup everyone, this is Dimitri, and today I want to talk about day 5 of my 5-day BRIG-20 split. It is a back and arms and a ham focused leg day, so quite a bit of exercises, so let's get straight into it. The first exercise is an assisted pull-up. It is not specifically a BRIG-20 exercise, but it's still a pretty good exercise. I think Doug rates it about a 7 or an 8 in his book. It's still a very good exercise, and it will target a bit of the biceps as well, and quite a bit of brachioradialis, which I felt like it makes sense to add a bit of more volume to my biceps. And also this is a good point to touch on, because exercises do actually get stale on you, and Doug even acknowledges this, but he says that the deload should be able to get rid of all of your fatigue from that exercise and make it feel fresh again, but I think it might not be enough. So in order to extend the life of my lat pull-in, I decided to add a different lat movement on that day. This exercise is really straightforward because it uses a machine, and it's a good variation of the pull-up movement because it allows you to unload yourself and get into the target rep ranges that you want. Also, it allows you to really hone in on that technique and try to isolate the lat as much as you can. It also allows you to stretch the lat fairly well, which in itself is a independent factor of hypertrophy. So if you're going to do this exercise, do it pretty much like any other. Slower in the eccentric, quite fast on the concentric, and you're gonna be golden. Later on in my mesocycle, on about week 5, I moved to a new gym where there was no assisted pull-up machine, and I switched it out for a machine pull-down. It's a fairly similar movement, so I don't think I lost a lot of there. Any kind of vertical pull-in movement, they're quite interchangeable. The next 2 exercises I do in a superset, similar to my day 3, the back and arms day, which you could check out. I'll put a card up in the top right corner. The first muscle I'm gonna hit is my triceps to really recover that bicep before hitting it again, because it might be a bit tired from the pull-up. The exercise I'm going to be doing is a modified tricep pushdown. It's a tremendous exercise and I really recommend you check it out. I actually just made a video on it, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it here. The exercise for the biceps is going to be a unilateral cable curl. It's a really great exercise for getting that mind-muscle connection on the biceps, and it's fairly straightforward. Over the course of this mesocycle, I have experimented with a bunch of variations, such as turning away from the machine and leaning forward, doing it facing the machine, or turning away and not leaning. And the way Doug does it is turned away and not leaning forward, which I'm going to be doing in my next mesocycle, and I'm going to make a video on that exercise when I get to it. I don't think it largely matters, and you should do whichever variation suits you most. For example, when I did it bent over, I really felt it in my bicep. It was really great. And biomechanically speaking, as long as you're keeping the forearm in line with the direction of the resistance in the stretch position. So just as an example, in a regular dumbbell curl, you keep your arm fully straightened at the bottom position, and the direction of the resistance, that is the gravity, is in line with it. You're gonna be good as long as you do that, because of the mechanical disadvantage, which increases gradually as the arm gets more and more straightened. Also, in case you haven't watched my day 3 or back and arms video, the way I do a superset is after I finish the first exercise, I get to doing the second as soon as I can, and then take normal rest after that before going on to repeating that pattern. Alright, so we're done with the back and arms portion of the workout, and it's time to get to legs. I do 4 exercises for them, and the first 2 are superset again, it is a leg extension and a seated leg curl. If you can do them on the same machine, it works amazing, because you don't need to take any kind of rest in between, and you don't have to walk to and from the machine in between sets. The quality of these exercises is really going to depend on the kind of machine you use, and if it's uncomfortable for you, then you might want to switch out to the leg extension for something like a sissy squat, because it's pretty much the same movement and it achieves the same goal, that is isolating your quadricep. The trick to getting the most out of these exercises is really trying and experimenting with the machine setup to make it the most comfortable for you, so that you can really isolate the quadricep or the hamstring. And you should really try to achieve the biggest stretch you can on these exercises, because they allow you to do that safely. So as for technique recommendations, for leg extensions, you could leave out the topmost part of the range of motion. It might do some knee damage. Whether you want to do that is up to you. I don't really think it's worth worrying too much about, but if it gives you pain, then obviously that's something to try and adjust for. The leg curl is such a simple exercise, there's pretty much nothing to say about it, but just try to keep it full range of motion, push it as hard as you can to get that really nice contraction, and it's fairly easy to start cheating on it by shortening range of motion, so just try to be mindful of that and not cheat too much. It's something that I'm actually guilty of, and I'm going to be using less weight in my next mesocycle to help prevent that and to get more range of motion. Alright, and the last major exercise for this workout is a step back lunge. It's, by Doug's account, not as great as the multi-hip machine, and that is what I actually wanted to use in the beginning. But after experimenting with it, I can't say I got it to work for me. Maybe it's my height, maybe it's the settings of the machine, of the particular machine that I have at my gym. I just couldn't get it to work. It felt super awkward, and yeah, I haven't had great success with it. So the step back lunge is a great alternative. If I recall correctly, it's something like the second best exercise in Doug's book for the glutes, so it's really a good exercise. And it is a really good exercise because it allows you to use a large part of the range of motion which the glutes are capable of going through. So I was using kettlebells for this movement, and I actually had quite a particular way of going about it. I only did one leg at a time, but with short rests. The other way of going about it is doing it alternating, kind of like an alternating dumbbell curl. So you do one leg, then you do another, then you do one leg, then you do another, and this all counts as the same set. But the problem with this approach is that you might run into endurance problems, and you probably won't be able to focus in on that glute muscle as much because you are using different legs. So the way I did it is I only did one leg at a time. So I did a set for the left leg, then I took a short rest, only about 35 seconds or so, and then I did the right leg, then took the same amount of rest, and then did the left leg. That worked really well for me, and I got fairly quickly through the sets, even though in total it's about 12 sets. But since the rest is so short, I think it works out to be about the same time-wise. And so the actual last exercise for me was machine calves. But if you want to do this day, you can do pretty much any kind of calf variation that you want. They're all good as long as you can get into that stretched position and get that big contraction. So many people don't do their calves right. They do these bullshit partial range of motion, lightweight, extremely high reps, and extremely high speed reps, which is just ridiculous. You wouldn't train any other muscle like that, so why should you train your calves like this? It just doesn't make sense. So if you actually want to grow bigger calves, you should approach their training just like any other muscle. There is one special thing about calves, and it's actually similar to traps. That is the fact that they work through a really small range of motion, so the reps are quite short in duration. And this is the thing to really consider and think about, because the reps you do are actually just a proxy for the time and attention of that muscle. And so since the reps are really short, you probably want to do more of them to get the same time and attention as the other muscles, which is actually 45 seconds or more. The takeaway from this is, down to sets of 5 to 10 calves, your sets are going to be way too short to benefit from the time and attention aspect of hypertrophy. So I would recommend staying in the 15 to 25 rep range. Another thing you can do for your calves is train your tibialis. In the start of my mesocycle, I did that, but soon realized that I simply don't have enough time to spend in the gym to do it. So, and I don't really care enough about that. So I deleted it from my program. But it is something that you can do, and it probably will help you to put on a bit more size on your calves. And if you're curious about that, you can check out the video I did on the calf superset, and I'll put up a card in the top right corner. Alright, so I hope this video was useful, and I'm really looking forward to your feedback. If you have any kind of questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Also consider commenting for the algorithm, it would help out the channel a lot. Like it and subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and see you later.